Welcome to the Geeks, 31 Days of Horror for Halloween. This is Lil.
And this is Steve.
And tonight we're reviewing Insidious, The Last Key from 2018. So for those of you who have not been with us before, we will play for you our rating system.
There's a rating system in place that we like to call 0 to 0. If whatever horror movie we're reviewing is terrifying only to the most infantile who get nightmares from PG-13 reboots, it gets a 0. If it's a gorgasm-inducing slaughter party that satiates your most devious and monstrous desires, it gets a hero.
Parapsychologist Dr. Elise Rayner faces her most fearsome and personal haunting yet as she's drawn back to her ghostly childhood home where the terror began. Yeah, that's actually what basically happened here. So kudos for whoever wrote that on IMDb.
Short, sweet, and to the point.
Steve, I really like this movie too. I know we talked about these. I had no expectations for this series going in. I didn't care for this. The ghost and haunting type movies don't get me. I watched the first one and I'm just like, oh, this is like Poltergeist. Okay. It's modern Poltergeist. I see what they're doing here. Second one, I was just like, Third one.
Second one, they did those nice tie-ins to that first movie, though.
They did. It got me in because it was like, oh, Josh is talking to his younger self. It's like, oh.
And it had, come on, it had young Elise and young Lorraine. And, that movie speaks for itself, though.
I understand. I think we've given these all pretty good reviews. And I think this one continues on because there was some of the story here was really good, really dark. They didn't go as dark as I had thought at one moment. I think it was like, whoa, where are we?
I think it was implied a little. I know what you're talking about, and I think it was definitely implied.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird things happening here.
They didn't go that far in it either, but it was implied.
That's true. That is true. But there's even some stuff with we'll talk about it in spoilers. But I really like this one. Again, not scary. Again, a cool death scene though. I'll have to give him that. By specs, I was impressed. But I give this one a high sidekick as well. I think this one again. I had a good time with it. I liked the story. I liked bringing in Elise's family. That was pretty nice too. It was just a good movie. Another good movie. I was really happy with this one. High sidekick.
All right, so for me, this one does get a high sidekick. I did like it a lot more than I thought it was going to be, but I don't think it's as good as 3. Here's my problem with this.
I agree with that.
My problem is that I like Lin Shaye, but this was the Lin Shaye movie, and I don't think I wanted the Lin Shaye movie.
I gotcha.
I think Lin Shaye works great as that through line character. She works great as that person that comes in and fixes shit and is the badass. And seeing her backstory was fine. I'm not complaining about that. It's because her backstory was good. The story was good. I just think it was a little too. There wasn't that extra thing going on that we could have had. This Lin Shaye story, her backstory being explored alongside another story, and it kind of is, but it's all tied into her. There's no other person. That other person gets in and out of this story really quickly. So while Elise, to me, feels like it brings down the movie because it's too much of the Elise show, I think Tucker and Specs have never been better. I think they shine in this movie. Ooh, they shine. They bring so much campy, corny humor to this. I actually think it's a breath of fresh air the way that they flirt with these two nieces of hers. I think it's a good time. So that, and I'm a big sucker for creature design, and not for nothing, the Insidious creatures haven't been that great. They've all been trying to go for something, but here, this is like a real ass monster. And I like that the little thing it does with its fingers that are keys, and it can reach in your throat and turn a fucking key, and you don't have a voice anymore. That's awesome. So there are some things to like. There are definitely some things to like here, but I felt like it was missing that extra layer that we have in Insidious movies. So,
but we also get character actor Bruce Davidson in this.
Is that the brother?
Yeah.
Was he the fucking senator from X-Men? The first one turned into a jellyfish.
I believe he was the ex. He was Senator Kelly. Yes. That's hilarious. That's where you remember him from. But yeah,
I don't know why I went there first, but
yeah. No, I mean, but he's been in a lot of things. So I mean, he's just that kind of guy. Just shows up.
And I'll say this, man, Elise, the young ladies in Elise's family line, yowza.
Very much so. All right, so let's get into some spoilers.
Spoilers. Spoilers.
3, 2, 1. So, I mean, we get a big backstory shot of Elise as a child here, and this is terrifying. She lives, huh?
It's rough stuff.
She lives basically within striking distance of a prison that her father works at.
Well, I feel like her father's the warden. It's like the house that's on prison grounds.
I know. I don't know. I couldn't tell. I know he has, his uniform and stuff. But
he's either the warden or like the number 2 in charge. Like, I think of it kind of like the wineries that I work at, right? Like they'll have one guy that like really looks after the vineyards and all that stuff like that, and he lives on site.
Yeah,
there's a house just off the property right there where he's just like, anytime anything goes wrong, he's there. And it's kind of like, so maybe he's not the warden, but he's like got to be like the top guy. It's the prison and this house, and that's it. That's right here.
Or like the keeper or the innkeeper or something like that. I don't know.
So,
well, yeah, but I mean, you could still be an innkeeper. I don't know.
An innkeeper
it's just weird. It's just weird to me.
Can I turn down your pillows, sir?
Not like that kind of innkeeper, but it's
just
weird.
Prisoners get there, you make sure there's mints on the pillow.
He's watching TV when they electrocute someone, and then you see like.
Well, this man is a troubled man. Remember, we find out that he's possessed. So.
Thank God. Okay,
because
we're in spoilers, right?
In the Insidious movies, there are no really bad people. There's just bad ghosts that make people do bad things. Nobody's responsible for their actions. Everybody that's evil is only possessed. That is how they've explained every single negative action that any person has done in any of these movies.
Well, except for the ghosts, right? Because like the
what makes them evil?
The Black Bride was evil,
that's true. I guess it did show flashbacks of the Black Bride killing people as a person.
Yeah, so I mean, she murdered dozens of people.
But he was possessed by his mom, right? Because he was seeing his mom.
He was seeing his mom. You're right. It was like an Anthony Perkins kind of thing.
Either way, that was a different movie. I'm just saying, it's something I noticed where I'm like, damn, like, because at the end, like the dad's ghost like helps her, and I'm like,
you get your
he's gotta have his redemption arc. Damn it.
I know. I was just hoping the mom would, and that's it. Like that's the thing. Like he had his redemption because he was possessed. So like I thought when she found all those suitcases. So let's go through here. There's this one scene which was really interesting because like we're watching it through Lin Shaye's eyes as like a teenager, and there's a ghost or a person we assume is a ghost.
It looks like the ghosts
in their laundry room. Well, it looks like the ghost that we've been seeing.
Insidious.
Yes, Insidious. That we've been seeing in this movie. And she tells her father, saw a ghost. And, when and it's crazy to me because it's like the father even tells her like the first time when he beats her with a cane, just tell me you didn't see a ghost and I'm not gonna beat you. But she won't lie. She won't lie, and she takes the beating. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. Because even like that scene, like I never thought we would get a Lin Shaye in a bra scene, but we do, and we see all the.
I said to my wife, I was like, we finally get a topless scene in these Insidious movies. 4 movies in, and it's Lin Shaye.
But we see the marks from the canes, like it still lives with her. It's still part of her, and it's very.
Yeah, but there was that scene where he was like, "You ask for it every day," and I was like, I thought they were going to say that her dad was abusing her in more ways than one.
Yeah, I don't think they did that. Like, I don't think they.
I felt like it was implied. That's all I'm saying.
It could have been, but I don't know. I don't know.
I felt like I'm not. Obviously, it wasn't clear cut, but it felt like it was implied.
You could see it that way, yes, or you could just see it at the surface level where he was just beating her because he was possessed by a demon. And I'm gonna go with that because it's a PG-13 movie, and I didn't want to. I don't like diddlers, so
This,
even though Freddy Krueger, is one as well.
Well, not Robert Englund's.
Well, but again, that's another thing. It's implied, right? It's a child killer, so most of the time, implied. But yes, not Robert Englund. Jackie Earle Haley's completely
Well, that's for
came
sure.
out. Yeah. Okay, so back to this. We have that one scene, and you're like, oh man, and then she runs away from home, and she leaves her brother. Leaves home, never to go back. That's where I was like, oh damn, like that's hardcore. She never reconnected with her brother. She left her brother with this abusive father and no mother because the mom, like, she's responsible for her mom's death because of the
mom's
monster.
Again, with the Evil Dead kind of throwbacks here, with the mom getting strangled by the electrical cable that was seemingly moving on its own. This felt very Evil Dead to me. This whole killer reminded me of the way that the cables slithered around the lady in Evil Dead Rise in the elevator car. So
very much so. So
that was an awesome scene when the dad comes down the basement though, and everything stops, and both the mom and the little girl fall at the same time.
Yeah.
That was really good, really good camera shot.
Yeah.
This guy that calls Elise to help, like we're in spoilers. So there's a scene where Elise is like, she's like investigating this house. This guy's called. It's her childhood house. So she's going back to her childhood house to help this guy with this ghost problem he's having. She wanted to go by herself. Tucker and Specs said no, bought this Winnebago thing. And there's a whole bunch of jokes about that. What they call it? Like the Winnebagost or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so they had all these weird puns there.
Which is good for them, because if they left Elise alone, would have been bad.
Oh, yeah. But, like, so she's investigating this house. She goes down in the basement, and she's, like, looking, like, they're doing, like, the videotape thing. And they're going around looking, and she sees a ghost that you think is a ghost, that we think is a ghost. And it turns out it's, like, this real girl. That this guy that invited her to this house to come help hunt ghosts has kidnapped and has chained up a woman in the basement. And it just, like, I get that it gets kind of explained, but still, it's just still feels like, what?
Yeah,
like
insane. Like,
you would never invite anybody to that house ever for anything ever.
Well, and even the cops bring that up, right? Like, so they're trying to explain it in movie. The cops are like, "Why would he bring you into this house?"
I know. And I get that they tried to explain it, but it still didn't make it any better. It was just like, this is dumb.
The demons are too much.
You didn't need this, because that really didn't ultimately lead to anything.
No.
Like, really?
Well, it led to, yes, there are demons in this house possessing him, and then her finding the father was doing the same thing.
Yeah, so that means that this guy wasn't really a bad guy. The demon possessed him, and
that's what they were trying to go to. So, I mean, and then you get, we meet her nieces that she's never met. She sees them at a diner and, like, creepily, like, jumps at them, like that she knows them. And then her brother shows up, and he, like, runs off and, like, yelling at her and stuff. I'm like, oh, I was like, well,
so
what do you
dramatic.
expect?
So dramatic. I like that Specs and Tucker are instantly horny for these girls.
Oh my god, they're like, and I'm like, what's the age difference here, guys? Like, they look maybe early 20s, and you guys look like you're in your 30s, so maybe even a little mid 30s there, buddies. So, but whatever.
Specs closes that gap. It don't matter.
That is very, very true. And it was interesting too, because, like, they had the picture of the whistle, because they have this whistle.
I didn't like this whistle.
that they had when they were a kid. It was an annoying sound.
It was an annoying
MacGuffin.
MacGuffin. It was an annoying.
Well, it's what got everybody back in the house.
It leads to the cheesy shit. Like when you only have Lin Shaye, her little one-liners, you get too many of them, and it becomes annoying. You know, like when you break the Lin Shaye up, and it's not even Lin Shaye, it's the Elise, right? Because this character is played the same in every movie. It's very much a character. It's not Lin Shaye, but like when she picks up that whistle and she like puts it on her neck and she's like, safe and sound, and it walks off camera. It's just like it becomes too much when it's 2 hours of it, because this is one of the longest in the series, by the way.
You know what? This movie had some weird cuts. It faded to black so many times to go to the next scene. It was so weird to me. It felt like this was a TV movie. Because it was like,
it was like
commercial break,
for commercial breaks.
Commercial break. Yeah, I'm not joking. It was like all of a sudden I really started noticing this, and I'm like, why are they doing this?
I didn't notice that. Yeah.
I actually don't know who directed this one, because like Lee.
I know Lee Winnell wrote it and produced it, but I don't think he did.
Adam Robitel directed it. I don't know what he's a graduate from USC, and I'm trying to see what else he's done. He did that, The Taking of Deborah Logan.
That was okay.
Escape Room movies.
I haven't
and that's
seen
it.
those.
So, like, I think this might have been his first movie. So, they got a cheap director. Maybe. It looks like he did some videos. So,
okay, that's fine.
Okay.
The Taking of Deborah Logan is what everyone will know him from.
But like I didn't get that. That bothered me, actually. That actually started taking me out of the movie. Like every time I went to black, and I'm like, what the, if you want to do something crazy, do the George Lucas Star Wars swipes if you want to go off kilter, but just stop going to black like you're going to a commercial break. So the brother has to go back to the house. There's police tape everywhere. There was a murder in this house and a kidnapping.
Yeah, we didn't fail to mention that Specs pushed over a fucking whole thing onto that dude's head. Like an ottoman or something.
An armoire. Yeah.
Pushed some big old heavy wooden thing and crushed old boy's head. So Specs is a murderer.
Maybe, excuse me.
He taker of life.
He had to do it. I mean, the guy was trying to shoot him with a gun.
That guy was crazy.
But so they break in to find a toy whistle. Makes no goddamn sense. Makes no sense.
And they're looking around in the dark and shit. And you're like, the fuck? Like, not the dark,
but
like
bad's gonna happen.
The daughter goes down to the basement, and that's when she gets her ass kicked.
Yeah, by the demon. Demon like beats her up and then does that cool locking thing with the neck. And then she's out. She's like in a beaten coma. And they're freaking out. And, this Elise shows up with Specs and Tucker, and then Imogen says, like, I'm going to go with them, and just, like, leaves.
She gives her this whole spiel about, like, I can do it, too. When I was a kid, I went to sleep, and I floated away to my neighbor's house. And I'm like, God damn. Like, it's
everyone's.
I'm not saying power. Like I know that we gave it like a high sidekick, and I'm not saying that because there are the things that I like about it are still happening, but the dialogue is a big pooper on this one. Like I don't like all these exposition dumps and these explanations about things. It's constantly somebody explaining something to somebody else, and it just never really feels like it's genuine conversation.
No. So they all go back into the house to look for a way to go in the further to save the other
sister.
The other sister. Elise gets in there and gets trapped by the key monster, and she's chained up. She sees her dad. He's being an ass, and the girl says, "Put me under, I can go get her." And I'm like, "Geez, how many people are just like, oh, just take me under, I'm going to go into the further."
Like this one has no practice in it.
No,
Or does she? Did she practice a little bit? I think she tried to. Didn't Elise try to like?
no, I don't think so. I think and Specs and Tucker are they proficient in this? They've only been working with Elise for a very short time at this moment.
Enough to buy the Winnebagost.
Well, that's true. So then they put her under, and she goes and finds and helps Elise. And again, this is another thing where like they just push the monster.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what happened here? You know,
Well, I mean, Elise is like the monster
Elise
has
is-
Elise
Elise
dead
is-
to rights, and
yeah,
then the
mom.
dad's ghost comes out and was like, "Yeah, how?" And then
Yeah.
then the monster gets the upper hand again, and then they phone a friend. They phone a friend again, and they summon the mom's spirit to come and. God, they vanquish this monster, and it's still 10 minutes of fucking Elise looking into the eyes of this other young lady and talking about mom this, mom that. I'm bored with this. I don't care really, I guess is where I'm going with it. Like, it's like, I get it. Yep, it's your mom's ghost, and you're talking to her, and I get it.
And
but
you know what? She's earned the right to have closure in her story, because right after this, it leads right into the first Insidious movie, because that's when she gets the call at home about
and then
Josh.
we get lipstick face demon, and it's like,
and
I don't like that lipstick face demon. I never really. He always kind of seemed like a cool draw, and then you really just think about it, he's just a weirdo with clown hair and bad makeup, and he doesn't really do anything. So him popping out here at the end doesn't really do much for
do
me.
it for you.
Just
Yeah,
like,
you know what I mean. I just know, like, okay, well, you're leading because he was chasing the boy in the first one, so that's what it is. You know, that's his guy.
we did kind of poo-poo and downer the end towards the end of this. It needs to be said though. This is still.
It's a solid movie.
I think 3 and
there's
4.
good things.
I think my rating would probably have to go 3, 4, 1, 2.
Yes, I agree with you.
And
Which
then
would be in chronological
order. Interesting.
Yeah.
And then, well, I guess we'll have to see where number 5 lands on that. The Red Door.
The Red Door is next. So thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. This is Will.
And this is Steve. And until tomorrow night, everybody, keep it creepy.